Hello, everybody. We are live. Hello, how are you doing? I'm a little earlier today because I got to go do some stuff, and I wanted to make sure I still gave you a show. We had an interesting development last night that I want to go through. Could Apple buy Disney? This report is sort of popping up last night from industry experts, and I'll be honest, I'm not a analysis or economic stock guy in the slightest. So I wanted to sort of go through this article that Apple could buy Disney given the stock drops. But I just sent out the link for those of you who are watching live. If any of you are out there and you want to join the conversation, it's in the comments. I will send it again. Check the comment, the feed, and you can join. One of you can just pop on in, join the conversation, and join me here because Lewis is, I guess, asleep. And I'd love to have someone else join me. So let me open up this Apple buying Disney. This was in the Hollywood Reporter. This is an interesting story that I wanted to go through. Here we go. All right. So, and if anyone wants to join, I'll paste the link one more time to join the stream live in person. Boom. You guys now have the invite. If anybody wants to try it, if you're coherent, you can stick around. If you're not, kick you, have someone else join. But there, check out the chat. I just dropped. All right. So, but let's get to the story in the meanwhile. Here's the story at hand. I thought I had this ready. Apologies. Apple could look to acquire Disney amid stock drop, analysts say, is what the headline is. Now, let's get to let's get to the meat of it all. So mega cap companies with large cash balances and whose equity outperformed Disney over the last 3 weeks, like Apple, could take advantage of the volatility as the coronavirus has hit Hollywood stocks. Sorry, Bud Light. Just got dinged, I bet. We'll see. With stock markets battered by the Bud Light and shares of entertainment giants hit hard, some Wall Street experts have wondered if cash-rich technology powerhouses could consider takeover offers from Hollywood companies. Rosenblatt securities analyst Bernie, led by, for example, said Apple, led by Tim Cook, could consider acquiring Walt Disney Company, led by Bob Iger. Now, well, I guess it's now not led by Bob Iger anymore. At least it was. Now it's Bob Chapek. Still need to learn how to say his name. After its Disney stock dropped below the 100 million mark last week. We believe those with long-term horizons, like mega cap companies with large cash balances, whose equity outperformed Disney over the last 3 weeks, like Apple, could take advantage of the volatility. He wrote, noting that Disney's market capitalization, which is approximately 165 billion, while Apple has about 175 billion in cash and securities. The upside from acquiring Disney would be securing their content streaming strategy and potential synergies from adding the emerging Disney ecosystem to the iOS platform. Apple, of course, didn't respond for comment, but Materian highlighted over the last 3 weeks, Disney has lost about 85 billion, or roughly 1/3 of its market cap. Also argued that among other benefits, streaming services Disney Plus could help boost Apple TV's streaming service. Disney Plus could solve Apple's content problem, as well as believe Apple TV Plus is off to a relatively slow start. Disney earlier this year has signed up to 26.5 million subscribers by the end of 2019 and 28.6 by the end of February 3rd. Apple stock on Friday jumped 12%, 277 amid a market rebound, while Disney shares rose 11.7 to 102. Now, look, this is obviously things get complicated. I don't know a lot about how this works, but let's just talk about it broadly. Look, does it make sense for Apple to buy Disney? If they could, and they could get it for a fair price, yes. Why wouldn't any business do that? They're allowed. That's how it works. These big companies take over. What's the difference if Apple owns it as opposed to Disney owning it, right? That's the real the question here. And then, so yeah, I'm gonna get some more comments. Government should stop that from happening. Yeah, look, I don't disagree. How many? It's like you can only have so many big companies, and then they own everything, and then that's monopolies, right? So this is an interesting development. It'll be interesting to see if that happens. Now, look, this isn't saying Apple's going to do it. This is just industry saying Apple could do it. Should Apple do it? From a business standpoint, I'm sure Apple's like, could we do that? Why wouldn't we do that? I mean, they kind of need that right now. Look, I'm losing interest in Apple, to be honest. And if Disney got bought by Apple, I would even be more disinterested in Disney because look, let's talk about Apple. The cult of Apple, right? This phone. I used to live by it. Everything had to be Apple, iPhone, sort of coordinated and connected. And so that's how I sort of lived my life. And then I quickly realized everyone who has, other Samsungs and other devices, it's actually not the best phone there is. It throttles you from other options, from expanding, memory, all the stuff. Apple is just selling their products, their connectors, their extensions. And, Apple is a business that sells a lot. It's built the cult of Apple where people are like, I have to have an Apple. I need that Apple on the back of my laptop and then people are paying a premium price for a computer that's not actually even necessarily the fastest. And if you want the fastest computer in Apple, my God, you're going to pay even more than a premium. You can get much cheaper PCs to do the editing, streaming, and things that most people want to do. So look, Apple's a business. So for Apple to sort of jump in, take advantage of the situation, and then buy Disney to solve its content problems, to then force it on iPhones, that's not good for us as consumers. So let's separate. Do I think should they? No. For my own personal stake, no, absolutely not. That's just silly. This should be two different companies, and it'll mass. But from Apple's perspective, if I was a shareholder of Apple, hell's yeah, I'd say yes. If I'm going to get money off the deal and then I'm going to own the content, of course. Just like Disney buying Star Wars. Was that a good move? No. Creatively, I think we all would say no. It sucks. But from a money standpoint, even though they have failures, it still has already made back its $4 billion easily and will continue to. So it's a tough one, right? So the question then becomes, should they be able to? Should the government, should other entities allow companies like Apple to take advantage of the stock drops that are happening right now to better their bottom line and to better their portfolios? That's what we're going to learn in the coming months. And I would imagine they wouldn't let that. Then again, our president doesn't seem to have a problem with big business. He has their back. He's a businessman himself, and not to get political with it, but he doesn't seem like the type who's going to be the first to stop this deal. That's just my instincts. But yeah, Google buy Disney. Again, there's probably several other big companies like that could take this over. And the reality, though, is Apple needs content. Apple Plus sucks. Apple Plus has like some good starts, and Apple Plus has what Disney Plus is missing. Because like the morning show, for example, it's water cooler talk. It's a good show. It's a drama that would never, ever have the Disney stamp. And one would consider Apple to be a family brand too, wouldn't you? Like my kids, I want to go to the Apple store and play with iPads. Like Apple is a family company. Yet they figured out a way to have a family brand that can have, adult shows that are stimulating, dramatic. And I think that's what Disney weirdly needs. That's the problem right now. Disney, both brands need something. Disney needs to get out of just sort of the babysitter business. It's a family brand. Families go to the parks. Adults go to the parks. It's for everybody, right? They go to Star Wars land. They go to Harry Potter land. PG-13, definitely. But they could also amp to be more Universal Studios, which has, they're not afraid to go with the horror stuff and everything else. So the reality is Disney needs to figure out a way to have someone finally tell them, enough, guys, Mickey Mouse can still be there. And you can still have an age-gated property that doesn't necessarily have Disney, but it can be part of Disney Plus or Apple Plus, whatever the hell they want to call it. So I don't know what's taking them so long to figure that out. That I think as the streaming wars continue, they're gonna come to a head with that and realize how much can we really stand by this brand? Is the brand really that valuable to not cross the PG-13 threshold? Those are the questions that Disney needs to figure out. And then from an Apple standpoint, Apple has such limited content, but they have so much money. They have so much money, guys. Apple's got unlimited, profit. It's just, they're just sitting in it. They're like, yeah, we can spend billions of dollars on content. Okay, try it. And they don't care if it doesn't work. So that's what's interesting. So Apple could use the content in the library to help them sell. And what's also interesting is Steve Jobs. I remember reading Steve Jobs and Bob Iger. They almost merged at one point. Steve Jobs was so big in the early days of Apple. Pixar and everything. So it made sense that then at that point, and Steve Jobs was a board member at Disney. And I remember Bob Iger reading something about Bob Iger saying, yeah, if Steve Jobs had still been around, I think we would have merged our companies. And that would have been a whole different beast because I do think Steve Jobs was more forward thinking, more innovative. They don't have that anymore at Apple. It's gone. No disrespect to Tim Cook, but my God, every update, it's, oh my God, we have a new camera. There's nothing there that is, blowing people away. They've lost that ingenuity, innovation. And so it's interesting, but Apple owning Disney would suddenly mean like, it just, there was a whole thing of like, Apple doesn't allow anybody and their producers and their films. You can't have the bad guy have an iPhone. There's like all these weird little rules they do to protect their products. So that integrating into movies, studios, scary stuff. Let's see what some of your comments are, guys. Keep them coming. And if you have any other topics you want me to shift to for this early edition of Popcorn Planet Fandom Wire Live, let me know. Myra, thank you, Myra. I don't think so, because Apple has closed their stories. Has closed their stores. We still don't know about the manufacturing facilities in China. They might have issues later. It's a good point. Are they really going to want to make a move like this, given the things that they are trying to figure out right now with the epidemic we're going through? Good point. Thank you for the support as always, Myra. Good to see you. Disney needs to embrace the past. I don't know what you mean by that, but I think they need to open up to the future too, right? It's like they embrace the past too much. All they do is reboot the past. That we got to find some new things to reboot 20 years from now. Hey, Ian, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us on the Facebook feed. I'm going back. I was just going to some recent ones that just popped in, but I see a lot of stuff in here. All right, so the Jobs family has larger portions of both companies. That's the truth. Jobs had stake in Disney and obviously Apple. So we'll see. Is this profiteering? Good question. Again, not an economics expert. I tried to get some of you to join, and then I didn't do it. If you'd like to join, you still have a minute. Click that link I just put in the comments down below if you want to join in and add your thoughts or change the subject. What was I saying here? Let's see what else we got here. 2020 blows. I think we can all admit that so far seems to be the case. It's going to be a weird Oscars, isn't it? I think they're going to post. How do you do it? Do you just put all these movies in with next year's movies? TBD. Obviously, we'll see how long this lasts, but we'll see. And Joe, yeah, I'm homework closed off of Rona. I don't know what that means. Wow, y'all are really openly trying to become a monopoly, huh? Yeah, Zane, look, they are. And the sad reality is most companies are becoming that. So we'll see what happens in the future, what that actually means. And look, it looks like I got a first guest. Let's bring in Taylor. What up, Taylor?
Hey,
welcome to the stream.
Hey, Andy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining in, giving me someone to talk to. I always prefer talking to somebody than just talking myself. So what do you think, Tyler?
Man, I don't know. I don't think that would be a good deal for Apple to join with Disney, though. I know they did. They tried talking about it last, was a few years ago, with like you were saying with Bob Iger or whatever. But I don't think it's going to be a good deal. I really don't. I think it wouldn't hurt Disney or help Disney's profits at all either.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I could see the business side of it working because I could see they would own franchise. Well, that's the other thing. Disney's investing a lot of money right now in hopes to make the money, right? So that's a good point. But I think Disney is still profitable. The things they own should be profitable if organized correctly. Then I could see why they'd want it to put on their devices and have exclusive Star Wars things on their iPhones. That would sell more iPhones. So look, from a business perspective, I could see value in it for sure. But you're right. There's so much more complicated stuff to it.
Yeah, I mean, unless Apple takes on the advantage of doing a lot of the Marvel movies that are like Ghost Rider, Punisher, or Daredevil, all the stuff that they couldn't do with Netflix anymore. Maybe like Apple would help them do that. Say, hey, we'll take advantage of that for you guys, and so far on that. I mean, maybe they could do something like that if that will help Apple. As far as the Apple Plus series, maybe, or the joint Apple and Disney Plus series kind of a thing. I don't know. That could be interesting, but I don't know.
The problem is, what do you call it? Because they already own Hulu, and then they have Apple, and then I just saw it. This is Andres. Thank you, because this is a very good point. Apple and Android users community are almost political by sides, and that's a very important point to mention because there's a lot of people that just don't like Apple. It's just like there's like Democrat, Democrat, Republican, Apple, Android. It really is sort of political lines, right? They're like F Apple, I'm not going to go. That was why they got rid of like the @Mac email addresses back in the day, which I used to have one, and then they changed it. They're like, no, it's now iCloud. They were trying to come up with a new domain that was not Mac or Apple, so that way people weren't like, I don't want to believe it. And that's the problem with Apple. So it has the cult of Apple where people are going to be like, live or buy, buy or die. But there's going to be a lot of people in the public who are like, I'm not supporting Apple. I have an Android. I don't want to go to Disneyland and have to use my iPhone at Disneyland. I got an Android. And that is a reality check that sort of like stops, I think, a lot of people from wanting to get Apple Plus, and it's like, if anything, Apple Plus is the wrong move. Apple needs to buy, or they should have bought Netflix or Hulu or something. So they could have had a streaming platform that was exclusive to Apple. and that way it wouldn't have blurred those political lines. And so in that regard, buying Disney is great for them because they own a brand, right? They can still separate the two things. They can have two separate stores at the mall, but then people who don't really need to know that they are owned by it, don't need to know it, right? It'll go above their head, because the reality, look here, and I'm not calling you out here, Outlaw Star, but right here, I hope Apple buys Disney. Maybe they'll do some new things. Like, this is, look, I'm not even trying to call you up, but like, do you understand what it means if they buy Disney, like the monopoly of that, and then less companies competing with each other? Like, is that really a good thing? Is that what you really hope? You want them to just have 5 companies own everything and then nothing else can compete with each other? It's dangerous, and I feel free to come at them, because I'm not trying to call you out, Outlaw, but it's like, why do you hope that? Just because you want new things? Yeah, but this could actually be a backward step if they own it all, because it means more product integration and more forced sort of Apple things that you don't want down your throat. So be careful of hoping for big corporations to swallow up other corporations, because it's not always a good thing. Sorry, Taylor, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm personally a Google fan. I've not really bought into the Apple product. So that first of all, I'm a little bit more Google and Microsoft a little bit over Apple. But there are some neat features that Apple has done. But I feel like without Steve Jobs, they've been struggling so much now too, that it's like, man, this could be a good thing for Disney to partner with them, but I would not like. But I would not like buy each other out. I think that would be a wrongful mistake.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the response. Isn't that what Disney's been doing? Yes, Disney buys Star Wars and turns into Disney. So now imagine Disney now having to be controlled by Apple. It's just another corporate. It's another entity with all the Disney shareholders Kathleen Kennedy, all these people still there. They're not going away. And Tim Cook's now another cook in the kitchen saying, well, I like that, Kathleen and Bob, but can we add a couple more Apple phones in there? It's adding another layer of higher things that makes it trouble. Here's another, but a good comparison, Nicholas. It's like Pepsi and Frito-Lay, all are Pepsi company, and most people don't even realize Frito-Lay and Pepsi are the same. But to me, that's where it works, right? Because you want to have Pepsi. Hold on, Lewis, I'm live on the air. Why are you calling me? I got to hang up on you. You have the link. What was I going to say was Frito-Lay and Pepsi are comparable, right? Because you drink a Pepsi, you want some chips. Right. It makes sense. Right. Apple, Disney, okay. Apple, now I have my streaming capabilities, and Apple can be integrated with those things. We have content exclusively. It does make sense. So from a business standpoint, again, I understand how it would make sense and why it would be. And here's another, Brandon, Apple and Disney is a great idea. The culture of Imagineering can help Apple. It's true. The Disney Imagineering is almost better right now than Apple is. So very good. Right. Disney's engineers might be more, the way they're doing crazy stuff might actually help, Tim Cook, and people be like, can't we do something cooler? This looks cooler. Do something that's more wow again. When's the last time Apple's wowed us? Ooh, 3 cameras in the back. Ooh.
I agree. That's what they all seem to be doing right now. It's just like, we'll just wow you with a new camera, or like we'll throw up something with a new tablet, but they're not adding anything new to it. It's just a little feature. That's it. You're not getting anything spectacular out of the products right now. They need to do something.
Yeah. So then I saw here, Jack, you're right. And then I saw Jack Bauer. Ooh, Jack Bauer's watching. Nice. You're out there stopping the Bud Light, Jack. You got 24 hours. Let's go. Disney messed up Star Wars. They deserve Apple owners. Look, that's the biggest thing that pisses me off right now. It's like people can't get over Star Wars and their hatred of it, and then if Disney sucks. There's a lot of talented people that still work at Disney, I believe, and I believe Marvel has done pretty good, and there's good animation stuff coming brewing out of there. Pixar is really great. Look, just because Star Wars hasn't found its way doesn't mean all of Disney sucks. So, and I don't even know whose fault it was at Disney, right? Is it Kathleen Kennedy's fault? Was it JJ's fault? Is it Bob Iger's fault? They just didn't know what they were doing, and I think they've now learned.
Right.
They've addressed the course, which I applaud that. They've slowed things down.
Sure.
Mandalorian, to me, I cannot wait to watch more. My kids and I love it. It's a great event television. Jon Favreau, to me, I keep hearing he's going to be in charge. So look, I can't. Why are we so against it? I love going to Disneyland. Disneyland's a blast. Right. Disney World, Disneyland. We all like that. So it's so cool to hate on Disney now because they ruined Star Wars. George Lucas ruined Star Wars back in the days of the prequels.
Well, the prequels.
Yeah, get over it. Get over this negative
Right.
energy on YouTube everywhere. No, we have to hate Disney because they ruined stuff. Dude, Star Wars was ruined way before Disney. Now, I
Right.
agree. Disney definitely didn't help Star Wars at all. The sequel trilogy sucks.
Yep, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
but there's still potential, guys. Come on.
Well, that's what I was gonna say too. Like, I mean, if Kathleen Kennedy is struggling, maybe she could go to David Finale. I can't say his last name right now. And thank you. And then John Farrell. She could go to both of them and say, "Hey, can you guys help me out? I mean, I screwed up. I need some help. Let's work out some good Star Wars content." You know, can honestly, if those two are doing really well for Star Wars right now, if Kathleen Kennedy just went up to them, I think they would help her. I really do. I mean, maybe not. Maybe there's some scandaling, backdoor peddling, but hopefully that there isn't an issue with that. Maybe there is some, help coming this way for Star Wars. In that sense.
Yeah, and so Lewis is here.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
I'm so me. I'm live. I told you. Hold on, wait, but you'll catch up, Lewis. Dallo Mang is saying, dude, the prequels are so much better than the Disney trilogy. Yeah, we know that now. But hello, go back in a time machine and remember how people reacted to the prequels back then, is all my point is. You guys are delusional if you don't think people were hating on Star Wars just like they're doing it now. They were doing it back then. And now in hindsight, everyone's all, oh no, the prequels were better. Blah, blah. Dude, the prequels were ripped apart to shreds back then. Lewis, Taylor, have my back. Where the prequels?
I do agree. I agree.
Adored when they came out? No, they were hated on. George Lucas was they were like, get George Lucas out of Star Wars.
Yeah, they were saying
people are so short-sighted of what the real history was.
It's not short-sighted. It's not being short-sighted. It's 20 years ago. People rewrite history, man. The prequels were hated. It's bad. Not as organized as today because the internet was really, really slow. But I will give George props. They planned it out. I'm just like shocked. Are these companies that fragile that if the stock goes down for a couple days, they're already selling off? What's going on here? Or am I missing something?
I don't have an economic expert, and I've warned everybody from the top of the show. I am not an economics expert.
Yeah.
This is only speculation. Apple hasn't said anything. We don't actually know what's happening. But the reality is Apple has a lot of money. Apple, Google, companies like this have a lot of money lying around, where Disney spends it all and whatever. So the reality is, like, as the stocks dip, what we're learning is like there is a potential where someone like Apple could swoop in and just buy the stock, like buy enough stock to then own the company, right? Is sort of how this is happening. So will they? Who knows? Should they? Probably not. Will they be allowed to? Probably not. But the reality is they could, and that's all we're talking about.
That's been around. That rumor's been around for a while, though. Steve Jobs' building is where Pixar's at. So they've kind of been. The marriage has kind of been there. Same thing with Star Wars. Merchandising for Star Wars has been there forever. They had the rides there, so it's kind of like they've always had some sort of relationship. So I'm not that surprised with this kind of news. I'm just like shocked just that the stock market goes down a little, and then. But isn't everyone simultaneous going down?
Everybody's coming down. Everybody's going to die, and it's all getting crazy. But we got to talk. Let's try and keep positive as we're all locked in our homes.
Toilet paper, man. Toilet paper should buy Disney. The toilet paper industry.
Charmin is making a lot of money right now.
Toilet paper industry to buy it.
Well, yeah, it's Charmin clean. That's how. I should have brought my kid on. He's like, here. My favorite thing to do. You guys watch that cartoon Charmin Bears ad? Oh my God, it's the weirdest ad. Why is that bear wearing underwear? He's a bear. They don't ever wear clothes, and it's a clean pair of underwear on the floor. Why are they trying to touch the clean pair of underwear on the floor? Are you not a parent? I have touched poop my entire life as a parent, and I'm not going to touch a tied clean pair of underwear. Oh, I'm not picking it up. You pick it up. I'll pick it up because it's clean. And then who leaves clean underwear on the floor of a bathroom? Oh my God, I could go on for 10 minutes. I've done with my kids. I go on for a 10-minute rant about that Charmin Bears ad. Anyway, Charmin Bears, they are just living it high and mighty right now. My God, they must be living it. But anyway, back to Disney and Apple. I don't think Charmin may make a lot this term, but I don't think they're making as much as Apple's collected over the years. And the question of, Steve Jobs has been there. Steve Jobs, as I said earlier, Bob Iger has admitted, like, had Steve Jobs not died, they may have emerged. And so with Steve Jobs gone and that innovation gone, who knows? So that's where we stand. I can't stay too much longer because I have to run, do some stuff today. I'll have more updates later, but I have to go family thing. I have to go deal. Everything's okay. But I may not be in studio tomorrow. I may be going from another studio, from another place tomorrow. Just be warned. But I wanted to get something out there and talk to you guys. I'll try. My schedule might be a little out of whack. In fact, there won't be a change my mind tonight. I'm going to push it to Thursday with Jody. But I should be on Jody's stream tomorrow night. So stay tuned. But in the meanwhile, any of that final thoughts? Lewis, you're back. The other big topic, and I figured we'll talk about it this week, but we can tease it right now. This idea of all these studios releasing their films in VOD. Will this hurt their relationship with the theaters? Is a longer conversation I want to get into, but I feel like let's wrap out there with sort of a teasing, because I think more and more films are going to come out. I don't think I don't think a lot of the big studio Mulan movies are, but releasing Birds of Prey early, Invisible Man, even Trolls is sort of like one of those. It's like, yeah, all right, look, let's just get it out there, because when are we going to release it? Let's not lose our momentum. Let's just get the soundtrack out. Let's have it out. People maybe buy it in droves. I think it makes sense why the studios are doing it. The theaters are closed. Does this, though, potentially put them in hot water with theaters saying, whoa, what are you doing?
No, special circumstance. Is that the theaters are going to look bad if they backlash against the studios. The only problem is they're all coming out on the same day. That doesn't make sense. It should have been, okay, yesterday one, skip a day. Next one, skip a day. Next one, or one day after another. But on the same day, that's a little bit counterproductive, especially on Friday.
Well, it's weird because we're waiting for Tuesdays and Fridays, but like, who cares nowadays? We're all home. Who cares what day you release it? Exactly.
With three at once, though, no one really watches 3 movies at once. I'm cool with one.
But you will over the course of the next couple of weeks. You have, it's options. But yeah, I agree. I don't see how the theaters can use this against the studios. They don't have any say. They have to close their theaters down. The studios are losing money. It's their content. They're going to want the content. If they don't get the content when they're back, then they're in deep doo-doo anyway. So I don't see how this can. I see a lot of hot takes of saying, "Oh, the theaters are going to have the theater." Well, this could be the end of theaters. I think a lot of theaters might die, which is really scary and sad. But the theaters are at the whim of the studios. They have to make good, or they won't have movie theaters.
The films being released already had some sort of theatrical run, so basically they can't be in theater. They're not going to make anything in theaters now because no one's going. So that totally makes sense. What's weird is The Hunt and Invisible Man share the audience. Trolls doesn't. So that's what I'm saying about releasing everything at once is kind of a little weird for me as a business standpoint, I would think. But then again, I'm not an expert in anything. So whatever, It'll
be interesting to see what Disney does with this move, because they're still not moving Black Widow, I noticed. They're sort of keeping it there, they're holding that date until probably April, because why not? They've already spent marketing on it. It's already there. I think they're hoping there's some miracle that can sort of put people back in there. But I don't know. Everything I'm reading, and just not to be the downer, but I think we're at least through May. And June may be when things, hopefully, or June, July, August is when we know. So it's a little shocking to me that Black Widow is still holding on to that early May date, because I don't think they're going to make it.
On an optimistic point, I believe that Disney and the Chinese government talk to each other because they make them a lot of money, and maybe they know something we don't, that maybe it is tapering off or leveled off, hopefully, and maybe that's the point, or maybe maybe they don't know, and they're just like, once they cancel, they can't go back. So,
I watched Outbreak last night, so I got a lot of thoughts. So if you guys haven't watched Outbreak, go watch it tonight on Netflix. We'll probably do it tomorrow or Thursday. Yeah, I have another day or two to catch up, but the Video Club, Outbreak, watch it. I got thoughts. And I was like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have watched. And then I was like, well, I'm glad I watched. But there's so many weird parallels, but then not weird parallels. But watch Outbreak on Netflix. We're going to do our Video Club this week, so we can talk about it.
You know what I saw?
What? Close
Encounters of the Third Kind. The second half could be relevant as well.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that are starting to happen. Yeah, I don't want to watch Contagion. That one's a little too
much,
too real. Outbreak is fun. Like Outbreak is a great 90s action film. On addition to like the topic is like, ooh, yikes. Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll get into it. Outbreak is worth the watch. Go watch it. I see. Yes, Andres is watching it today. Great. All you guys watch Outbreak and show some support to your creators. Thank you, Myra, for doing that. And who else was it? Jack Bauer and Myra. Thank you for both dropping tips today. I really appreciate it. You can do it anytime you're watching with the Cash App and PayPal, friends and family. All the links are down below. Lewis at money sign at Lewis at Report money sign.
Have it up.
Support him too because he's getting hosed with all his live events getting canceled. So go support your creators. Anybody you're watching, thank you for those who did. I got a couple other PayPals. I'll shut you guys all tomorrow, but I got to go. But Taylor, thank you for coming in the pinch, stepping in for Lewis in the beginning.
No
man.
Sorry, guys.
See you. And other fans, as you're watching, Taylor just joined the show today. You will too in the future. Sometimes just put the link out so I can have conversations with you guys. That's what this is all about. And thank you for those of you that did it in the comments on Facebook. If you aren't on Facebook and you're not there, go over to Fandom Wire on Facebook, Fandom Wire News. You can go over there and like us. We got lots of. We always break the news. I break the news there first, even beyond my Twitter or YouTube. It's always there. I'm on there reporting when I see a story. I post it there immediately. So if you want breaking news and funny memes and videos, check out Fandom Wire on Facebook. And if you found us there and you made it all this way, thank you. We're here live mostly around 2 on the weekdays, but you can see me over at Popcorn Planet as well. I do some more videos there, some night streams. So thanks so much, everybody. Let's join in our worlds. Let's keep it hunkered down. Let's support each other. Tip your creators out there. Thanks to all you who've done it and been out there. Stay safe, everybody. Do what you got to do, and we'll be back with more soon. See ya.
See ya. Popcorn Planet, baby. Woo.